With the release of Thor Love and Thunder, we now have 4 Thor films inside of the Thor franchise, and as well as the MCU. So today, I'm here to stop and rank all 4 Thor films from the worst to the best. Please know that everything that I will say in this video is just my very own opinion. My name is SDubNation, and you are free to comment down below your very own ranking of all 4 Thor films, ranked from the worst to the best, just like me, or you could just do your favorite. What did you think of Thor Love and Thunder? You can check out that movie review in the link in the description. Please don't forget to check out that Twitter that's going to pop up on your screen right now, and also that Marvel playlist. That link is also in the description as well. And with that being said, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get right into our ranking. Kicking off my list at number 4 for me has got to go to Thor: The Dark World. As a point of reference, I really enjoy this movie. The scenes on Asgard, in my opinion, look beautiful, and obviously not as great as the first Thor, but definitely a better looking Asgard than Ragnarok and Love and Thunder. Thor: The Dark World is regarded as one of, if not the worst, MCU film. From the Dark Elves to Malekith's plan to the uninteresting art for Thor himself, I can agree. But I can say that the buddy cop duo that is Thor and Loki is pretty great to me, and Loki still is very entertaining to watch. While they sustain Thor's heroism and his confidence, it feels like the MCU just couldn't write something interesting about him. He just kind of felt stale, and you can definitely see that Chris Hemsworth, was kind of getting a little bit tired of the role. You can kind of see that in Age of Ultron, but at least he had more interesting people to bounce off of. And this movie is a solo film, and I feel like he just felt a little bit bored with just playing this bland character. And I feel like this version of Thor wouldn't be so bland if they actually wrote him better. It just felt like the MCU just couldn't write something interesting about him. Other characters in this movie do things, and he reacts to them in a very Thor way. But he himself, in only a few scenes, actually is interesting. Overall, Thor: The Dark World isn't an embarrassment on the MCU as well as Marvel, but it isn't great either. Kicking off my top 3 list for me has got to go to Thor: Love and Thunder, the newest addition to the MCU as well as the Thor franchise. Taika Waititi returns to give us more of what we loved from Ragnarok, well, what I loved. The wackiness of the storytelling, the humor is up to 100 in this version of Thor. While very entertaining, the film plays as a parody of Thor and really makes fun of his life. Most of the jokes didn't land with me. It just wasn't that funny. The screaming goats, just wasn't that funny. There's a lot of things out of this movie that just was not funny to me. Obviously, Taika didn't learn anything from Ragnarok because he just doubles down on what I really didn't like from Ragnarok. And the tonal issue. The tone inside of this film sucks. An example, Gore the God Butcher. It's in his name. He's a God Butcher. We rarely even see him butcher any gods, but he's a God Butcher. He's a character that feels as though the gods failed him by not saving his love. That's very interesting. You can do something deep with that storytelling. Especially you can rope that in with the storytelling of Jane having cancer and Thor, a god, doing something about that. So I found that very interesting about him. But he's also a very dark character as well that works in a more serious version of this movie. But I think they handled the relationship between Thor and Jane a lot better. The SNL comedy sketch that they did with them living together, that was my favorite part. And the drama and seriousness of the cancer diagnosis. In fact, Jane is the best in this film than she ever was inside of the franchise. Her and Thor's chemistry is really good inside of this movie. I love all the characters. Gore, not as much. I really didn't like Gore that much. I didn't care for him. And I liked Thor. I didn't really love Thor in this movie, but I liked him in this movie. And he never once stopped being the focus. It's his movie through and through. Mighty Thor doesn't come in and take away the spotlight. There's no females taking over the spotlight for Thor. He's still the only Thor by the end of this movie. And I really liked that. I really appreciated that. I just felt as though this movie played like a Saturday morning cartoon where Gore the God Butcher kidnaps the kids and Thor and his allies have to go save them, and also writing in a PSA about cancer. It plays like that rather than an MCU film. Another comparison that I have with this film is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, whereas James Gunn was given a lot more freedom in the second go-round with Marvel than he was in the first go-round. And we saw how that all turned out. They gave Taika Waititi more creative freedom, just like they did James Gunn, and they both put out sequels that just don't rival the original. My runner-up at number 2 for me has got to go to Thor 2011, the original Thor, whatever you want to call it. Kenneth Branagh's Thor. I love this movie. And actually, my number 2 and my number 1 are just, it's a big jump in quality from Thor: The Dark World and Love and Thunder. 2 films that I really found entertaining, actually. Thor: The Dark World, I really enjoyed that movie. Love and Thunder, I was entertained. But I love this movie. I definitely got to move it up in my MCU rankings because where I have it at that bottom of the list, and like I got to move that movie up. While the whole world hated this movie, I loved it. The fact that Thor actually has an arc, learning and proving to himself that he is worthy and able to love. He learns humility, and by the end of the film, he's grown from that
vain, greedy, cruel boy
to a man that gave up his love and his happiness for his people. The movie has the most gorgeous look of Asgard, filled to the brim with Shakespearean grandeur and gravitas, and the movie also feels human and small town, and that's able to help you grow with this fish out of water character. This movie is great. It deserves way more recognition for having the best story of any Thor film, dramatic moments, and the most sincerity. And also, let's not forget that amazing score. I don't know who the composer was for this film. That amazing score. It makes you feel like you're flying over Asgard as Thor himself. It's just incredible. It's probably my favorite MCU score, right underneath Endgame, or maybe it surpassed Endgame. I don't know. It's been like 2 years since I ranked the scores. I really love this score. I really love this film, and when I put this film on, I actually have a great time watching it. Yeah, the New Mexico stuff may be a little bit bland. I don't care. Kenneth Branagh's Thor will always be one of the greatest MCU installments. But coming in at my number 1, obviously, has got to go to Thor Ragnarok. I actually debated between this one or 2011 because I love both films. I think 2011 has a little bit more substance to it, but come on. Ragnarok made Thor cool to me. After the first film, they didn't know what they wanted to do with their only space-based Avenger. So what they did, they rewrote him. They stripped him of his hammer. They cut his hair. And they made him funny. Knowing all of this, I must say, the movie's hilarious. It's the funniest MCU film in my opinion. I laugh out loud every time I watch it. Chris Hemsworth's comedic timing is refreshing, and Taika's wacky sense of humor works for the most part, and igniting new energy into the franchise. So I think the biggest comeback for any franchise inside of the MCU has got to go to Thor. The franchise lacks consistency, of course, but the comeback of having this bland, boring movie of Dark World, bringing it up to this awesome, energized, retro film, Ragnarok. Now, I must say, the tone is all over the place. Dramatic moments aren't allowed to breathe, and every time it's something serious, it's undercut by a joke. But I also must say, it's not a joke every 50 seconds like Love and Thunder. But when it comes to Thor himself, while he is funny, he still has a level of, I am Thor, I am the hero, this is what heroes do, I have to go to Asgard, I have to save my people. And when he finally unleashes his true power onto Hela and claims his throne as king, it's so satisfying. As a whole, making Thor cool, resonating with audiences, and reinventing the franchise, Thor Ragnarok is everything Love and Thunder wish it was and could live up to. This is why Thor Ragnarok has to come in at number 1. Alright guys, that is it for the ranking. Please know that everything that I did say in this video was just my very own opinion, and you're free to comment down below your very own ranking on all 4 Thor films, ranked from the worst to the best, just like me, or you could just do your favorite. Please don't forget to check out that Twitter. They're going to pop up on your screen right now, and also that Marvel playlist. That link is always in the description. And also come back later for The Boys seasons rank, as well as the Ms. Marvel finale review / rant. I'm currently working on that video right now as this video is uploaded. At the time of this video being uploaded today, I'm actually going to put out the Ms. Marvel review hours later, so it might not even be today. It's probably going to be like at 3 a.m. or something like that. But with that being said, guys, with all of that out the way, I will see you all next time. Peace.